You know, Andre Ward, after your fight with Rodriguez, you're talking to the press, and you were talking about your future, and you made it seem to where your retirement, the end might be a little sooner than later. I mean, can you just tell me your thoughts on when that day might be?
Man, I don't know. It's hard to say, you know. And I know every fighter talks about this at the peak of their career, and I don't think I'm quite at the peak yet. I think I'm knocking at the door to my peak in terms of everything, skill, earning power, everything. I think, you know, I'm right there, but I just don't want to be, you know, I mean, I've been in the sport 20 years. People look at my age. I'm 29. I'll be 30 in 2 weeks. People look at my age. Oh man, you're only 29 years old. What are you talking about? Yeah, but you gotta do the math. You gotta backtrack 20 years. I've been in this since I've been 9. You know, rumbling in the gym, rumbling in fights at the highest level. So I'm starting to count the cost a little bit more, you know, in terms of my body. And I train really hard. I know a lot of fighters train hard, but I train really hard. Whether I'm running, strength training, you know, sparring, like I give it everything I got, and that takes a toll on the body. And that being said, I got a lot of fight left in me. I'm still hungry. I still feel it. I got that desire. So it's not time yet, but, you know, I want to be one of those guys, the few guys that walk away from the sport on top. I know the fans have heard it before, but on top with his faculties intact and plenty of revenue, man, to go off and do what I want to do in life.
Now, you've had time announcing on HBO.
Yes.
Has that opened your eyes to how things could be in the afterlife?
Yeah, that from that standpoint, but then also, you know, it's good to make some money, man, and not take no punches, man. It feels real good, you know, and that's what it's about. But yeah, I'm thankful for the opportunity, man. I try to go out there every fight, prepare right, do what I got to do, and be an asset to HBO and be an asset to the fighters that are actually fighting. So it's kind of difficult, me being a fighter, sometimes having to critique another fighter, and that's one thing HBO encourages me, Lampley and Kellerman, they encourage me to do. Say, hey man, you know, you can do it the right way, but you got to do it. So that's one thing I'm working on. But man, I love it, man. I've talked about being a broadcaster since I've been a little kid.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen Roy Jones do it when I was little coming up, and I always wanted to do it. Now I got my opportunity at the highest level, man. So it's a tremendous blessing.
How do you go about it though? Before you broadcast, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to bring to the table?
Well, I mean, first you get a stack of research about that big. So I get my FedEx the week of the fight, my FedEx package, and then I just grind away, man. And I try to, like for me, I know most of the fighters that I call, the fights that I call, I know who they are. But I try to challenge myself to still search for things in their personal life in terms of research that I have, how many kids they got, you know, how they started boxing. Because I want to, when I come to the broadcast team, you got Lampley, you have Kellerman, those guys, they're phenomenal at what they do. I got to bring something different. I want to give the fans maybe something unique about these guys that we're watching that they don't know, but then also maybe give them a view that only I can give them because I've been in there. Like, I can see, man, this guy, I know what he's going through right now. It's the 7th round. He's tired. He's trying to get his second win. I know that because I've been there and I know what I'm looking at. So that's what I try to bring is something unique, something different, and give them a little glimpse of what it feels like to be a fighter. And
how do you get along with Lampley and Kellerman, like, outside of the work? I mean, what are those guys like?
They're great, man. Actually, you know, the relationship we have is a lot better than I anticipated early on. Because I've called fights before, and you know, on the lower level, and sometimes, you know, the veterans are kind of like, young buck, you on your own, you know, because you know you're kind of in their space. But from the jump, Kellerman and Lampley, and I got to give a shout out to Al Bernstein, man. That's like was my first mentor, and it still is my mentor. That guy, he calls me, he critiques me. He's always there, and he's one of the best in the business as well. But those two guys, man, from the jump, they always pull me to the side. They got love for me. They critique me. They help me, and I take my hat off to those guys. I appreciate it because they don't have to do that.
Gotcha. And I was gonna ask, getting back to when you do walk away, that's a huge decision. How are you gonna know that the time is right?
I don't know. I don't know. I got good people around me, you know. Sometimes when you deal with the frustrations of the boxing game, whether it's the business end or the politics and stuff, it makes you want to walk away probably sooner than you should, you know. And I deal with that frustration a lot, man, because I know that the toll that this game takes on you, even the best, the guys that look like they don't get hit and stuff like that, man, we're in here sparring 3 days a week. I'm sparring 4 or 5 different guys. 10, 12, 14 rounds. You're taking punches. You put it on the line, and then you expect your business to be handled a certain way, or you expect, the politics and everything to work in your favor. And sometimes when that stuff doesn't, when you've been in the game for a while like I have, it makes you want to walk away, man. And I know what that feeling feels like. And I think it'll be similar when it's time to walk away. It'll probably just, I don't know if it's going to be a feeling of, man, I just don't have the desire to prepare anymore. Or if I'm just going to know, like, man, this is it. Like, and I'm going to obviously talk to my goddaddy, who's my trainer, Verge, my pastor, my wife. Just talk to people that I trust and know and say, man, this is how I feel. How do you guys feel? Okay. And try to make a collective decision. But it's not going to be easy, man. I know it's easy to say it now, but when that day comes, it's going to be tough. All right.